the most trustworthy of us all. We can never match him, but we try our best and give our all.
Career Compass with Kelly Ramazani.
اللهم صل على المصطفى حبيبنا محمد عليه السلام. اللهم صل على مصطفى حبيبنا محمد عليه السلام.
Radio Al-Ansar, 24/7, 365.
11 minutes past 1 o'clock. It is a beautiful Thursday, the 15th of May, 2025. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you just joined in, thank you so much for tuning to 90.4 FM Radio Al-Ansar. If you ain't the Durban region, and if you are in PMB, shout out to you too. 105.6 FM. Anywhere else around the world on www.alansar.org.za. My name is Kelly Ramazani, and I'll be keeping you company from now up until 2 o'clock. I'm not alone in studio. Shout out to Spaniso, who is the tech on duty, and shout out to you too for listening to us. We'd like to invite you to be a part of this discussion. Now, this show, Career Compass, especially tailored for you, empowering the youth with information that is valuable for their future. So here on this show, we unpack careers that are in demand locally and globally. We unpack careers that do not require a degree. We unpack side hustles, soft skills, career development, and so much more. Now, today we're going to be addressing the elephant in the room. Inappropriate relationships taking place in the workplace. I'm sure you have witnessed one, hoping you haven't been involved in one, but even if you are, we're not judging you, okay? It's a safe space. I need you to share your story with us so that the next person can learn. We spend so many hours at work. It's only normal for us to form personal relationship. However, how can we maintain a balance? How can we not mix personal with professional? Do you think it's easy? Do you think it's possible? Share your tips with us on 060-904-1056. Like I said to you, this is something you do not want to miss out on. So join in the discussion. We are live on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. It is Career Compass with Kelly Ramazani. Your Thursday midday is about to get better.
WhatsApp us now on 060-904-1056.
Standing right in front of you, the man who changed the world forever. What would you say? Oh, dude, what if he started speaking? Would you be completely lost for words? The perfect human being, the best creation of both worlds, in the presence of the greatest man who changed my life. Would I smile or be in tears if I stood out to her? لو كان حبيبنا بيننا فما هو قولك له؟ وإذا بيده سلم عليك وهو مبتسم فضمني إليك يا حبيبي ما كان في جنان الخلد والأنهار وروحان السلام. Am I good enough to meet him, or is it more than I deserve? To share his company, or is it more than I ever? Allah, would you allow me to be with him in eternal life, in the perfect surrounding, a place that is beyond mortal sight, in the presence of the greatest man who changed my life? Would I smile or be in tears if I stood out to her? لو كان حبيبنا بيننا فما هو قولك له؟ وإذا بيده سلم عليك وهو مبتسم
And that is Mu'ad, the Prophet Muhammad. We've got more awesome nasheeds coming your way. It is 15 minutes past 1 o'clock. It is Career Compass with me, Kelly Ramazani. We're talking about inappropriate relationships that take place in the workplace. But before we get into that, I want to remind you, last week we spoke to Altaf about transitioning from university to the workplace. And it was such a wonderful discussion, a beautiful conversation. I hope you learned a lot from that. Now, I did mention that when you are in school, there is so much of challenges that you face as a student, okay, whether it be high school, varsity, or just being a student of life, okay? There's always pressure, either pressure from your parents, parental expectations. They expect you to perform well, better than your cousins and your relatives and whoever that they're comparing you with. Okay, I'm not siding with the parents, but I think sometimes a little healthy competition does help. Okay, except when they remind you that you're a loser and you're a failure. That is unnecessary, okay? And also it causes resentment. Also, the other thing that many students face is the challenge with time management, right? Balancing schoolwork with maybe extracurriculars, tuition if you have, house chores if you are involved at work and at home, and it can cause emotional stress. It can cause burnout. Okay. It doesn't end there. You also experience failure of loss of failure, and you experience a lot of anxiety with exams and deadlines and whatnot. And you're just praying, oh my God, can we get done with this so that I can go to work and finally become an adult? Oh, the many years that I spent wishing to be an adult. Do I regret it? Yes, I do. No time to think. It's a yes, I do. And you thought that work or growing up or being an adult will be much better. Right. Then you find out that, nah, it only gets worse. It only gets worse because now with work, you have the heavy workload. You got your employers that are expecting you to handle too much work, expecting you to pick up a phone call after working hours. No. I'm joking. It might be an emergency, okay? Pick up depending on the field, the line of work you're in, okay? And then you get poor management and leadership. Maybe your supervisor, your manager is just giving you hell of stress because they can't do their job now. You have to do their job for them. And it just goes on and on and on. And just when you thought that was worse, you now have to face the challenge of job insecurity. You could lose your job at any time with retrenchment, or maybe your place being toxic. They're constantly firing people. It just doesn't stop. Now, my tip to you today is life will never get easier. Nope. If you're sitting down right now and thinking, maybe when I'm done with this phase, I'll go to the next phase and it's going to get easier, it will not. Okay. It might not necessarily get harder, but it will definitely not get easier. Now, don't be among those people that are obsessed with hardship. They're constantly looking for glory. I went through this challenge and I went through that challenge. If you are presented with an easier option that gives you the same result and a difficult option that gives you the same result, please, for the living life of your mental health, choose the easier option. If you're getting the same results, choose the easier option for your mental well-being. Okay. And also, there is no trophy for struggle. Okay. There is no trophy for struggle. You might actually end up meeting resentment or regrets down the line because you wasted time, you wasted energy, you wasted resources, only to realize that you could have done that much easier or quicker. Okay. So that's my tip for you. If you are looking for advice that life will get better, it's not. It's going to get more challenging. But the best news is you will get wiser. You will get smarter. You will get more tolerant. And you will become more quieter. That's my favorite part, being quiet. Because if you know me, I'm all about being bubbly, being cheerful, being vocal. But sometimes, especially now that I'm growing, before that I wasn't growing, now I'm growing. I find myself to be quieter. I prefer to observe than to say anything, And that's the magic. When you realize that this is what growth feels like, the need to not prove a point. That's the best news. You will grow. There is room for growth. However, it will not get easy. Now, let me not bore you with my advice. That is my academic advice for today. Up next, we are going into the main topic for the day. Inappropriate relationships taking place in the workplace. We'll be joined by Riandi. You do not want to miss this, I promise you. It is Career Campus with Kelly Ramazani every Thursday, 1 to 2 p.m. only on 90.4 FM. If you are in Durban on a 5.6 FM, PMB, that is Radio Al-Ansar.
Radio Al-Ansar, Durban 90.4 FM, Pietermaritzburg 105.6 FM.
Plan your dream holiday with the specialist, World of Travel, as we pride ourselves in offering you the best in Hajj and Umrah. We also offer travel packages to the Middle East, Far East, and many more exotic destinations. Call our professional travel consultants now on 031 20 8877 or view our website www.worldoftravel.co.za. Visit us at 44 Crescent Street as memorable journeys begin with World of Travel by Irshad Malik.
With 49 years of experience in the motoring industry, Metro Car Sales has been proudly serving you since 1976. Need a great deal on your next car? We've got you covered. We offer in-house finance arranged in 1 hour. So, what are you waiting for? Call us now on 033 3942 595. Visit us today at number 1 Boshoff Street, Pietermaritzburg. You can also check out our amazing deals online at www.metrocars.co.za. Metro Car Sales, your number 1 dealer in wheels.
This Eid al-Adha, remember the ultimate sacrifice and your duty to humanity. Join the Al-Ansar outreach in reaching over 70 villages in Malawi. For just 1,200 rand, your Qurbani is slaughtered, cleaned and distributed under the supervision of our respected Mufti. Make your Qurbani count. Call Al-Ansar outreach today, 031 208 1601.
WhatsApp us now on 060 904 1056.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Join me, Fatima Kareem, and the Radio Al-Ansar team at the King Farm Agri Fair. It's a day packed with delicious food, exciting entertainment, vibrant stalls, and non-stop fun for the whole family. Don't miss the chance to view top-quality livestock up close. Free entry, unforgettable memories, and a chance to meet the Radio Al-Ansar team. What more could you ask for? Save the date, Saturday, May 18, 10 Georgedale Road, Caterett, the King Farm Agri Fair. See you there.
Running a business is tough. Managing labor issues, even tougher. That's where Viva Labor Consultants comes in. For 18 years, we've been South Africa's trusted partner in labor law compliance. From UIF to workmen's compensation and MIBCO registrations to CCMA hearings and trade union negotiations, we've got your back. Based in Durban, our team is ready to assist. Call Zunade today for free consultation on 082 501 0012 or visit us at vivalaborconsultants.co.za. Viva Labor Consultants, your labor law experts, always by your side.
Radio Al-Ansar, Durban, South Africa.
Career Compass with Kelly Ramazani.
Riveting interviews, empowering, educating, and appealing.
Radio Al-Ansar.
صلي على المصطفى حبيبنا محمد.
It's your midday conversations, all about what's taking place in the workplace. It's me, Kelly Ramazani, keeping you company up until 2 o'clock. You are on 90.4 FM, Radio Al-Ansar. You can catch us live on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, taking advantage of social media because, hey, if you're not there, like, where are you? Where are you? Not that I'm judging you. Never mind. Let's get right into it. So for today's show, the topic that we are speaking about is inappropriate relationships taking place in the workplace. Now, if you're employed, okay, you will know that we spend so much time at work. Now, we are not there alone. We have our colleagues, we have our managers and subordinates, and everybody is there. It is normal as human being for us to be social, for us to share a story or two, which might lead to a personal connection. All right, it's not a bad thing at all. It's actually healthy, according to studies, that having a relationship at the workplace boosts your morale, teamwork makes you happy. You look forward to going to work. Okay. However, there should be a clear line between personal relationships and professional. All right. Because sometimes those lines can be blurred. And then what happens then? What happens then when we begin to involve ourselves in inappropriate relationship? How does this affect us mentally? I have got on the line Riandi, Constable, who will be talking to us about this brilliant topic. I also want to know from you. You can share in your thoughts, your experience. Join in the discussion, okay? Talk to us on 060-904-1056. Boniso is pointing on something.
Topic of the day.
Oh, wow. Brilliant. That's all he wanted me to. Okay. Thank you, Swaniso, for that. Right. Like I said, on the line, we're joined by a qualified relationship and life coach who has a deep passion for helping couples and individuals build lasting, fulfilling relationship. She specializes in working with couples and individuals, like I said, navigating communication challenges, trust issues, and transitioning major life changes. Okay. Riandi believes that every person has a unique dynamic and she tailors each session to support your individual goal. We have on the line the one and only Riandi Constable. How are you doing? And thank you so much for joining us, Riandi.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for inviting me on your show today.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Now, I would love for us to jump right into the topic that we have for the day. Inappropriate relationships in the workplace. The first thing a person might wonder is say, wait, what's inappropriate relationship? Is it gossip? Is it, how does it become inappropriate? So what, in your words, defines an inappropriate relationship in the workplace? And why are these relationships overlooked or ignored in most cases?
So, well, let me start by saying that romantic relationships in the workplace are so common, unfortunately. But any relationship that negatively impacts on your ability in your job or an inappropriate relationship. Sorry, can I just... Sorry.
Yeah, I'm also getting like a feedback, but don't worry, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so I would say any relationship that could also be in the form of a controlling employer who try to dictate every aspect of their employees' lives. But I think today we're going to concentrate on romantic relationships that form at the workplace.
Riandi, I want to ask you something, right?
Yes.
We're spending a lot of hours in the workplace, and sometimes we begin to form these personal connections. Now, do you think people purposely form romantic relationships in the workplace, or is this just part of, the conversation or the friendship or the relationship?
No, it's quite natural to form a bond with somebody you work with. And I think we need to remember we sometimes spend more time with the people you work with than maybe your spouse at home. So it's tricky because it leaves a lot of room to possibly fall for somebody at work or build a relationship with somebody at work. So yes, boundaries are very important.
You mentioned something very great there, boundaries. Now, speaking about boundaries, how do we begin to lay out these boundaries and say, okay, yes, as much as I'm spending so much time here in the workplace, and it's easy for me to find myself gravitating towards somebody and bond with them, which might lead to something else. But how do I lay these boundaries so that we don't cross that professional line?
I think what anybody should think of is, if I could just give you one line, not all the things you shouldn't be doing with it, with somebody you work with, but don't do something with somebody you work with that roles reverse that you wouldn't want your partner to do with their work colleagues.
Oh, that is a topic on its own. Okay. Yeah, we do have some spouses that are very, very tight on those restrictions. I don't want my husband or wife to, have lunch with a colleague, or don't want them to maybe even greet them or sit next to them in functions outside of the workplace. So there's some things that to me might be minor, but to others it might be a big deal. Now they find themselves involved in that because the work setting is like that. Do you think that's a really valid reason to say, okay, if I'm not going to do it, then I don't want you to do it, but be two different people? Maybe I'm an introvert, you're an extrovert, that kind of thing.
100%. But I would say that each couple would have their own boundaries or lines that you would say. But I think it depends on the couple. It depends on the person. Like you say, everybody is different. But that also comes down to trust again.
Yeah.
So, ultimately, I don't think you should be having a very personal relationship with somebody at work, or discussing things with somebody at work that would make your partner uncomfortable.
Now, say, for example, one is already involved in this inappropriate relationship in the workplace. What impact or what are the effects that it has on their mental health as well as their relationship with their partner if the partner gets to know?
Oh, that's a hard one. It's definitely going to have an effect, because you're going to be pulling away from your partner at home. You'll be sharing things with somebody at work that you shouldn't be sharing. And your work, you're even going to affect your work colleagues because they're going to notice and see. It will change the whole dynamic at work. And your boss might even find out, and your job might even be on the line.
What if it's the boss now?
Oh, that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Avoid at all costs.
Avoid at all costs. No matter what they promise you, a promotion, rental that will be paid, all expenses covered. Avoid at all costs.
No, jokes aside, if it is a boss, then you hopefully have a human resources person you could go and talk to.
Now, there are some workplaces that are highly toxic to a point where even the HR knows he or she has limits. Whatever the boss said, the boss must get. Now, in a situation like that where, even if you take it to HR, it will be pointless, or it might not help. What is one to do, based on your expertise, the advice that this might, the advice that you have for this person, how it might take a toll on their mental health?
Oh, that would be very hard. And of course, if I was talking to that person, I would say rather resign and get out of this toxic environment, because you're going to be spending your life there. But it's very difficult. If HR can't help you, then you're a bit stuck.
I do know a few legal procedures that you could take, but I need to double check that information because I didn't do the research on that. But, just looking from a mental and emotional perspective, what do you think are some of the signs to look out for that, okay, here, either this relationship could build to something more than just a professional colleague relationship, or maybe if you are the colleague that's witnessing a relationship forming in front of you, and how does that affect you mentally and emotionally?
So you're asking me what signs to look out for?
Yes. What are the signs to look out for?
So obviously, if colleagues are meeting after work more socially, conversations have moved beyond the topics of work to more personal discussions. You talk to your coworker about things you would not discuss with your spouse or partner. Or you have disclosed personal information about your spouse. You make, sadly enough, insulting remarks about your spouse. Or you start having some inappropriate thoughts about your coworker. Or even making comparisons between your spouse and your coworker.
Oh, that's the worst.
There's so many, Kelly, but those would be the main ones that come to mind.
Oh, that is the worst. Like comparing your spouse to your colleague. And you know what's so funny is that sometimes these things can even come out as a joke. You know, you're comfortable and you having a conversation with your partner, and you're like, so and so at work is better than you. Oh my goodness. Wow. But talking about signs to look out for, we're human beings, you can study or understand body language when you walk into a setting or room. You can tell that so and so and so and so, they seem very comfortable, maybe a bit extra comfortable with each other. But if one has witnessed that and maybe they took it to HR, it didn't work, or maybe they're scared of taking it to HR, how can they confront the person to say, hey, it's inappropriate what you're doing? I mean, we can see that you and the boss, or you and the manager, or you and so, you're busy. We can see that. How do we handle that? Friend to friend or colleague to colleague?
Well, I would suggest that you start there and you have a conversation. And I would even, depending on the person and depending on the workplace, but I would even approach the boss even directly.
Oh, you are brave.
You don't, if somebody's in the wrong, they're in the wrong. But it depends. Clearly, it depends what type of company you work for.
Yeah.
But it obviously would be tricky to go and tackle the boss. But confront your friend and maybe also tell your friend, like what I said earlier, would you like it if your partner was involved in the same way you're involved?
How would you feel?
To maybe just make them realize how wrong it is.
Now, say this person or me, for example, I skip the friend that's involved, I skip the boss that's involved, and I start my own little speculation and rumors and gossip in the workplace. Now, how does this affect the individuals that are involved?
Oh, well, it's then there starts the gossip. And the whole dynamic at work will change. And the two people that are maybe having the relationship might even feel ousted. They're not going to trust to talk to you anymore. And your reputation is going to get damaged. So again, boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries are absolutely important. If you just joined us, welcome right into it. It is Career Campus. We're talking all things career related, including the workplace, inappropriate relationships. I'm joined by Riandi Constable, who is talking to us on how to navigate your way if you're witnessing an inappropriate relationship, or if you are the one involved. Hopefully you are not, okay? But if you are, share your tips with us on 0609041056. What are some of the lessons that you've learned? Never to do. Okay, share those messages. I'll attend to it just now. Now, Riandi, I want to ask you this. What are some of the practical steps that people can take to set healthy boundaries? I know we spoke about boundaries earlier on, but I want us to lay them out in practical steps that okay, boss, I see you keep smiling at me. I don't like it. Do you say it like that? Or is there a way that you word it? Or how do you go on about it? What are some of these practical steps?
Well, yes, it is boundaries, but I would approach it in a very kind way. But you're allowed to have boundaries. And if somebody oversteps your boundaries, yes, you must speak up. But I would say it starts with recognizing, obviously, the red flags.
Yeah.
And then you must have some clear and direct language, like what I've just said. Be direct. Don't be scared. You can maybe, like, for an example, I appreciate your offer to maybe, I'm just using an example, Kelly, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, for giving me a lift to work and back. But I'm not comfortable with that. I will rather go with my other friend. Or it's probably a bad example to me, but you don't have to say yes to everything your boss asks you. Definitely not.
Yeah.
And then you have to be consistent in keeping your boundaries. Don't feel that you have to be not. Work is work, and after work you have your own life.
Absolutely, I hear you loud and clear, and it is okay to say no. However, you might get some bosses that just cannot take no for an answer. And we hope that you, the listener, is not involved in that kind of situation, because it can be highly, highly toxic and detrimental to your mental health. Imagine being held against your own will. Like, you have the right to say no, but your boss is like, nope, not me. Now, reading some of your messages, if it's your boss, okay, we'll get to that message later. I don't want us to go there. I don't want us to divert.
Okay.
Riani, what any closing advice, or if somebody is involved in the situation and now there's so much rumors and gossip happening in the workplace, they don't know how to seek for help, how to come out clean, how to lay these boundaries, what advice do you have for them?
I think first and foremost, seek some support. Talk to a good friend or a family member, or obviously somebody like a therapist, just to get some support and guidance. I would document everything.
Very important.
Basically, keep a record of any inappropriate behavior or incidents. If it's really bad, obviously, I would say seek legal advice. And obviously, you would go through the normal procedures of HR, etc. But also, I do have to add this: create a safe plan. If you're feeling unsafe, make a plan to leave the situation. You don't have to stay in a bad situation. That's not good for your mental health. There are other jobs.
Yeah. Oh my word. Brilliant advice there. Seek support, some guidance. Also, remember to document everything. Any inappropriate incident, write it down, time, date, and who was involved. Very important. Also, HR legal advice. Very brilliant advice that you just gave us there, Riandi. I'd like to thank you for your time. Hopefully, we will keep in touch and do this more often. You up for it?
Thank you so much for having me, Kelly.
Absolute pleasure. Now, that was Riandi Constable, who is a qualified relationship and life coach who has a deep passion for helping people, sharing with us about the workplace inappropriate relationships and how, if you find yourself in that situation, to handle it. I think it was a brilliant discussion. I'm going to now look at your messages on 060-904-1056 on what you have to say. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I do know of somebody that was involved in an inappropriate relationship, and witnessing that does affect your mental health too. Ooh, that is the message of the day. I have witnessed something like that in a previous workplace. Okay. And at this point, it was the boss involved with the not junior, but not supervisor as well, that kind of thing. Climbing the ladder, somebody who was very ambitious, very dedicated. And it turned out that you witnessing this affects you too. It affects you because now it changes the work dynamic. You have respect for these individuals that you work with. And now you know this is so-and-so's wife. Why would you do that? So it makes you lose respect for the people involved. But more than anything, it makes you question your morale. You're like, should I tell HR? Should I tell the person involved? What do I do? Where do I position myself? So I guess I absolutely love this message. It affects you too. And like Riambi said, if you do not want your partner to do what you are doing, then don't do it. Unless you are held at gunpoint, then that's different. It's a matter of life and death. Not that I'm justifying it. Hold on. But if you have a choice, say no. Do not get involved in such things. However, it is a trend nowadays. We see it everywhere on social media. Work spouse or, work husband or work wife. And they share meals and they confide in each other about some of the life struggles or progress that they're going through and they're accomplishing and achieving. I don't know what to say about that. Let me just move on to the next message, okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Tuning in, love the show. Thank you so much. Here's another message. It says, if it's your boss, then it's sugar mommy, sugar daddy. No. We don't encourage such things, and especially as Muslims, it's very important for us to understand that whatever promises this boss makes, gives you or promises you, bottom line is you are involved in a sin. Okay, apart from it being inappropriate, not suitable for a professional setting, blah, 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 you are involved in a sin. You will be answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not worth it. It's not worth the stress that it comes with. It's not worth I don't know if it's excitement or if it's fear. I don't know at that point, unfortunately. And I'm not speaking out of ignorance. Please do not misinterpret my reason for not understanding an inappropriate work relationship by saying it's because you're not involved, you don't know. Then tell me, what is it like? Why would one find themselves in such a situation? Talk to me. 0609041056. We offer you the platform. Up next, we've got an email about a situation that I'm going to share with you, and I need you to share your advice. If you are in this person's shoes, what would you do? And if it was you or it was a friend of yours, what would you advise them? That is up next. We also got careers that are in demand locally and globally that we still have to tell you about, soft skills, and a whole lot more. Isn't it beautiful? I think it is. Career Compass with Kelly Ramazani every Thursday, 1 to 2 p.m.
Career Compass with Kelly Ramazani.
Open your eyes, my little one.
Getting through 4 days. Radio Al-Ansar.
So young. When you wake up and hold your own, know with each wrinkle there's some lessons you'll learn. By the time you learn to love, you'll have to learn to lose. Since one day I'll be leaving you, but hold on tight like you once did. When you get a chance, say and pray it like this. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما. The greatest empires have turned to sin, and one day we'll all be joining them. Pray you stay firm, hope you stay calm.
Looking for top quality tools and hardware at unbeatable prices? WhatsApp us at 081 450 6082 or shop online at hyperhardware.co.za for fast, reliable service. We deliver nationwide.
We're still in the running and you can help us win it all. Radio Al Ansar is honored to be recognized in 3 exciting categories on the Best of Durban Readers' Choice Awards 2025.
Best Local Radio Station,
Radio Al Ansar,
Best Local Radio Shows,
Urban Woman and Afternoon Jam.
Best Local Radio Personality.
Razia Rangwage. The voting deadline has been extended to 18th May, so don't miss your chance to help us win. Visit bestofsouthafrica.co.za/Durban, head under Entertainment section, or simply scan the QR code on our socials and vote in seconds. Let's make 2025 a winning year for Radio Al Ansar.
Join me, Faisal MD Suleiman and Buddy Governor on Let's Chat this Friday evening at 9 p.m. and every Friday thereafter when we venture on a trip down memory lane.
Remember, the vibrant district of the Grey Street Casbah has been the soul of Durban's Indian community, a place where stories are woven into the fabric of its bustling markets, historic buildings, the people, and that has shaped our legacy. From the towering Juma Masjid Mosque to the majestic Emmanuel Cathedral to the iconic tea rooms and shops that have stood the test of time. The Casbah, more than just a place, it's an experience. It's a life that seems to have faded away into memory. This will evolve into a regular Friday evening series on the show, and you can share your memories and experience and family stories with us by calling in or sending us a WhatsApp, which we will read out on the show.
Tune in to Let's Chat on Radio Al Ansar and enjoy the stroll down memory lane together. Let's Chat this and every Friday at 9 p.m.
When you give water, you're reaching out to drought-affected areas, bringing them to life. Fresh water to drink, to clean, and to grow. That's the power of water. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
As temperatures drop and winter grips the country, the less fortunate in South Africa are preparing for the harsh realities that this season brings. Africa Muslims Agency is distributing blankets, clothing, and other essentials to thousands across the country. Sponsor a winter pack for 320 Rand or a blanket for 160 Rand and spread warmth this winter. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Radio Al Ansar, 24/7, 365.
Career Compass with Kelly Ramazani.
7 minutes to 8 o'clock. We're about to wrap up, but before we do that, I've got an email that I need to read out to you. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube, so do check us out there. We spoke about many side skills. We also spoke about many soft skills that you can develop that will make you a highly valuable individual, not just in the workplace, but also in society. We've spoken about time management, communication, problem solving, flexibility and adaptability. We've spoken about so many things, but today I want us to speak about accountability. Yes, accountability is a soft skill. At this point, being human is a soft skill. Yeah. Being a great human being is something that you constantly have to learn, improve, work on. It's never a once-off kind of journey. And you're like, yeah, I'm done. I know everything there is to know about myself, about life, and that's it. As long as you're alive, as long as there will be change, evolvement, you will need to work on yourself. Accountability is an absolutely crucial soft skill to have. It not just makes you a person who accepts the mess up they've made, but it makes you a person who is able to face on commitments, admit mistakes without shifting blame, and hold yourself to high standards. Okay. Accountability is very important because it builds trust. If I mess up and I say, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Now that I know better, I will do better. It makes you want to trust me more. It makes you want to work with me even more because I will do better. I learned from this mistake. I will do better. I will work on it. Okay. And some of the examples of accountability in the workplace is that we need to own up to our mistakes when we mess up. Okay. How do you do that? Group work, teamwork, all that stuff is important, but some people underperform. Okay. Others overperform. We don't need to do that. We just need to play our part. Each person play their role. And with that, we'll create a balance. Unless you are maybe held back by some task, by some work, then you reach out to a friend and you're like, hey, friend, I was supposed to give you this or that. I was supposed to get back to this person or give you this email or maybe give you the script or whatever. I'm held back by so-and-so. Can you help me with this? You reached out and you seek for help, okay? Otherwise, just ghosting a person that you were supposed to work with, or maybe just folding your arms and letting them do all the work. And then when it's done, lo and behold, you come to collect the glory, is something that makes you a bad person. Please work on it. All right. Now, let's quickly check the email that came forward. Right. Listen carefully, hey, because I'm going to ask you, if this was you, what would you do if you were in the shoes, or if it was somebody that you cared and loved deeply involved in such a case or in such a scenario? What advice would you give them? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Kelly. I'm a 22-year-old studying full-time and working full-time and somehow still trying to keep up with my family, friends, and life. Not that I was alone. I wake up at 5 a.m., work until 4 p.m., attend classes and tutorials in the evening online. I do study and assignments at night. Now, my friends are always asking to see me more. My parents are constantly asking me to stop checking my phone, but they don't know that I'm checking deadlines. My manager thinks I can always push through because I'm young, so they give me more work than the others. I'm constantly tired, my body aches, and I don't know how to rest. I'm doing a lot, but I feel like I'm doing nothing at the same time. What does balance look like? What advice do you have for me? Whoa. Okay, quickly, let's hear it from you. What advice do you have for our 22-year-old friend here who's working full-time, studying full-time, trying to balance social life, family, and all the other aspects that make us human? Man, this is such a familiar case because I'm literally going through the same thing, But alhamdulillah, I've learned to create a balance. And this is the question that we have here. What is balance? How do you create balance in such a situation? I think for me, I will have to share my journey. The first thing is to understand that the more work you do doesn't equate to growth. Okay, you can do a lot of work that can be time consuming, that can be draining, and it won't amount to anything. Okay. Balance is when you understand the difference between working hard, okay, and prioritizing the tasks that are needed for you to see the results that you want. Okay. Doesn't matter me working as hard as I like if what I am prioritizing right now is not going to show me the results I want. It's not part of my journey. You can prioritize many wrong things and the results will not be satisfying because it's not a priority to you. So the first thing would be identify what are your priorities? What are you working hard for? What are you working hard to achieve? You want to be independent. You want to be financially stable. You want to be a genius. You want to be, what is that you're looking for? You need to identify that. That's the very first thing. And then you need to understand that sleep is your friend. I don't know why people are against sleep. I love sleep. I sleep and I knock out completely because my mind is constantly working on something. So sleep is your friend. You need to make time for sleep. Okay, I noticed you said here that you can't sleep or you can't rest. You said something like that. Without rest, your focus, your memory, your emotional regulation, everything will be a mess. And you're doing so many things. I'm sure you're working with different people. They need the best version of you. So you need to be well-rounded. I know it can be a lot, but the only way that you can give the best to people is when you give the best to yourself. Your mental health, your sleep, and of course, God Almighty. Those three things are your priority. No matter where you go, no matter what you do not ever, okay, leave them aside. Also, you need to know that you need breaks. You need breaks. You need to take breaks that are meaningful. Oh, shucks, I'm just looking at the time right now. All right. Okay, I think we'll continue with this next week. I love the messages that are coming in. I see 3 over here.